Hello, everyone. This is Stephen Richardson from lawschool-essentials.com. Today, we're going to be looking at question 4 from the June 2013 California first year law student examination. It's a criminal law question, and we'll be outlining, and I'll put some IRAC up there for this question. We'll be using products from lawschool-essentials.com. Following information is not to be construed as legal advice. It is a tool to help students pass their exams. Okay, this is the information that you'll see when you take the test. It's the basic instructions on what to do. And like I said, we're going to use products from lawschool-essentials.com to outline. And these are mnemonic memory aids that help you remember. Read it, write it, repeat it. That's how you remember these things. And you have to be able to regurgitate this stuff, especially this question. It's almost like a racehorse. Okay, first thing you do is read the call to questions. What crimes, if any, can Dan reasonably charge, and what defenses, if any, can he reasonably raise? With what crimes, if any, can Anne reasonably charge, and what defenses, if any, can she reasonably raise? In a series of nighttime burglaries, a burglar broke into houses when the owners were away and stole items of value. The burglar ate cookies found the burglar ate cookies found at each house and therefore became known as the dun 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 cookie bandit. Wanting to protect his property and prevent a burglary while he was out of town for the weekend, Dan planned to lace some cookies with cyanide and leave them on his kitchen counter. That's a bad mistake. Don't ever do that at home. He believed his plan was lawful because he had been told by a police officer that he could use deadly force to prevent a burglary. He asked his friend Anne to help him obtain cyanide. She tried to talk him out of it, but he assured her that it was lawful. She then got him some cyanide. He laced some cookies with it, left them on the kitchen counter, and went out of town for the weekend. During Dan's absence, his neighbor Jane entered his house together with her 5-year-old son Victor. Each weekend, Jane cleaned Dan's house. While Jane was cleaning, Victor found the cookies, ate one, and died. Man, that's a tragedy. Okay, so while you're reading this, you should be thinking State v. Dan, there's a homicide, right? So you're going to need to talk about common law and model penal code murder, right? Using poison is depraved, but is there intent to kill Victor? And mistake of law is not a defense. We already know that. Um, State v. Anne, and this is not State v. Jane. So don't talk about State v. Jane. Anne is the accomplice. She got uh, the cyanide. So State v. Anne. So we're talking about being an accomplice before the fact. Okay, let's move on. So this outline, I've shown that you could take 12 minutes to get this outline together. Here's the homicide, and it's a result of the defendant's act. You don't have to worry about number 2 or number 3. And did the defendant act with malice? Well, using poison, I think is. Did the defendant act with intent to kill? What else can you intend with cyanide? Did the defendant act with wanton and willful disregard? I think this is what'll get it. Wanton and willful disregard. You might want to put that in your response. Okay, if malice exists, then murder, unless there's a justification. He's going to try and justify that it was a mistake. The defendant acted under a reasonable and good faith mistake, that the police told him that he can use cyanide, but the police didn't tell him he could use cyanide. He said he could use for self-defense. And laying a trap is not self-defense. So if malice does not exist, then did the defendant act with criminal negligence? If so, then voluntary manslaughter. So you're probably going to need to talk about model penal code, first degree, second degree, intent to kill. Yes, but I don't know it was intent to kill Victor. So it might be a secondary degree murder charge. Depraved heart. But you're going to need to talk about that voluntary manslaughter and the MPC, and you're going to have to throw that in. It's going to take some time to write it. So are there any defenses? Mistake of law, no defense. That's why I gave you 12 minutes. So I'm giving you 15 minutes. You might could take up to 20 minutes to write this. But if you did question one in the exam, of course you did. There was a manslaughter outline there. You can grab that, copy and paste that manslaughter, unless you're writing, but you can still go back and write, you know, what you wrote before. So that half of that battle's done, the rule statement and so forth. Just gotta match the facts in the analysis with the elements of the rule. So, at common law, murder is a crime of homicide with malice forethought. Homicide, the unlawful killing of a human being by a human being. This is a homicide. Modernly, here you throw in the MPC, Model Penal Code, is divided into first degree, premeditation, deliberation, and second degree, all other murders. So you start with common law. Victor, he died eating a cookie that Dan made laced with cyanide, a poison. And you just, you can read this, you can pause it. This is what you're going to be writing about and talking about. I think it's going to hinge, um, is this a malice aforethought? And not necessarily intent to kill um, Victor, but um, definitely to kill someone, right? And it's a trap, so it's not self-defense. So his defense, he doesn't have a defense. But talk about uh, mistaken law, that he asked a policeman, and the mistaken law is not a defense. But you got to talk about it. Then you give your conclusion, and then down to the manslaughter. Under criminal law, voluntary manslaughter is an intentional, unlawful homicide, the killing of one human being by another without malice aforethought because of adequate provocation. Well, was there intent? I would say quickly dismiss this because he did not intend to kill Victor. Then I go to involuntary manslaughter. It's unintended homicide. So, and you can say that he didn't intend to kill Victor, um, and even though you can say he intended to kill someone, well, someone didn't die. Victor died. Okay, so then you make your conclusion. All right. Now, State v. Ann, not Jane. You're not going to talk about Jane bringing Victor into the house. State v. Ann. And this is vicarious liability, accomplice, right? And statutory, like the Model Penal Code, causation, and Ann was the proximate cause of of um, Victor's death, right? So is Anne vicariously liable for the death of Victor? Accessory is not present at the scene of the crime, but may be found guilty of aiding and abetting and may also be found guilty of the target crime. Under criminal law, an accessory before the fact is that person or persons who aid or assist in the commission of the crime. Here, Dan's a principal. It was his idea. Dan asked Anne to provide him with the sign, which she did. She tried talking him out of it. So she didn't have the requisite intent. However, she went and got it and gave it to him. So that was the proximate cause of. There's a nexus there. It's the proximate cause of Victor's death, and so you conclude. And that was pretty much a racehorse criminal law. You gotta know these this checklist by heart. You gotta know these legal rules, black letter law by heart. Head over to lawschool-essentials.com. Look at the products there. They're very cheap, and all they can do is help you. And I hope that these videos help you. Thanks, and see you on the next one.